After stumbling over 5 skeletons, these 3 prospectors entered a narrow passageway. They crawled all the way back where it opened up into a bigger room. They were lighting the room only with these torches and had to feel along the walls, and they felt a carved out shelf. So the prospector Melton was feeling around on this shelf, and he came across what felt like a rock, but it was in a rectangular shape, and as he picked it up, it was extremely heavy, and he knew that this had to be gold. Welcome to Hidden Treasures. If you like the story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave comments. This is the story of 3 prospectors, S.J. Harkman, E.J. Oliver, and H.A. Melton. These 3 prospectors were mining, looking for gold in southern Colorado near what is modern-day Deadman's Camp. They were about 2 miles north of Deadman's Camp when a blizzard moved in very quickly, and they had no time to get back to their camp, so they had to seek shelter anywhere they could find it. They ended up finding a crack in a rock face, and they dove into this crack and ended up finding out that this crack actually was a narrow pathway that went back a little ways. So they got down on their hands and knees and kind of shimmied back into this pathway, and to their surprise, this actually opened up into a 20-foot room. They lit up their torches and started exploring in this room, and what they found was at the back was another passageway. So they got down again, and this passageway was a little bit larger than the first one, but still pretty small, and they crawled back through this passageway, and it went back for a ways, about 20 feet, and it opened up into another larger room. So next they started exploring this second larger chamber. One of the prospectors, E.J. Oliver, was walking around, and again he only had a torch, so it was lighting eye level and above, but he couldn't see necessarily what was at his feet, and he ended up stumbling over a rock. But this rock was very lightweight and kind of went tumbling along, and when he brought his torch down, he realized that it was a human skull. So as the 2 other prospectors started looking around, they actually ended up finding 5 skeletons in this chamber. At this point, their torches were getting low, were running out of fuel, and they knew that they had to go back. So they went back out to the front and refueled their torches. They were undeterred. They wanted to go back and find out what else was in this cave. So they went back in to the second chamber, the one with the skeletons, and started looking around again, and they found yet another passageway. So they all got in. This passageway was a little bit bigger than the last 2, and they were able to kind of stand up, but they still had to go single file, and they went through this passageway, and it opened up again into another large room. This was another large room, larger than the passageway, but it was much smaller than the other 2. And they kind of had to feel around, and as they were feeling around, the wall kind of jutted out with jagged rocks and different things like this. But also about 10 inches from the floor felt like a shelf had been carved out of the wall. So the prospector Melton was feeling around on this shelf, and he came across what felt like a rock, but it was in a rectangular shape, and as he picked it up, it was extremely heavy, and he knew that this had to be gold. So he called the others over, they brought in their torches, they looked at it, and he dusted it off, and sure enough, he was holding a very crudely fashioned gold bar. So after they found this gold, they ended up finding, by different accounts, either 3 or 5 gold bars right here on this shelf. And after this, they explored more. They started looking around and feeling around in this, and they found yet another passageway leading back further into the cave. At this point, they had either 3 or 5 gold bars, and it was getting kind of dangerous. Again, their torches were running low. They needed to get out, so they headed back out and took the gold with them. That night, they stayed in the very first chamber, rode out the storm. The next day, the storm was clear, and they headed back to their camp. At their camp, there were other people there. They showed everyone the gold. They told everyone what had happened. They became kind of famous in the area for this. They actually went over to Silver Cliff and sold these gold bars for $900 each, 1880s money. they had found that other passageway leading back out of that last chamber where they found the gold, leading back further deeper into the cave. And they believed that if they went back there, that they would find more gold. So they headed back to the mountains. They went there and searched year after year. They went there and they could never find the cave again. So there is a cave just north of Deadman's camp that 3 to 5 gold bars were found in, and the people that found that believed that there was more gold in that cave, and they couldn't find it. They couldn't get back to it. So if there was more gold, it's still there. As far as we know, no one has ever found it. So there very well could be gold bars in a cave just north of Deadman's camp that are just waiting to be found. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave comments. Thanks for watching.